What's up, guys? My name is It's D Rob,
And I'm Luffy,
and
and
this
this
is
is
our
our
gaming
gaming
podcast.
podcast.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yes, hello, guys. And today we are going to be talking about Wave 3 DLC Booster Course Pass for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I know we're a few weeks late on this, but I promise you it will tie into something very important, especially at the end. I just figured, this might be a good idea. Yeah. Our Luffy suggested it, so I figured, why not? Let's go ahead and do it. So yeah, we are doing it.
Yep.
So, the usual. They released 8 courses a couple weeks back. We've already, obviously, we already had the first 2 waves, and some things were good, some things were bad. But Wave 2 showed more promise. And with Wave 3, I do believe that they have delivered pretty well, honestly, compared to the last 2, even. So, yeah, we will be talking about each of the courses individually. So, shall we start?
Yes.
Right. All right, well, let's start with the Rock Cup. We have London Loop first, which is from Tour. And I've not played much of Tour myself, so
Four
don't
is
really.
mid.
I mean, it's a mobile game, so yeah. But it is the first course here, so I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember much about this one, honestly. Think I remember the chain chomps, and that's most of it for me.
Okay. I remember a bit more. um. So, even though I believe that Mario Kart Tour is mid, this track is far from it. I really liked this track.
London Loop.
Yes, London Loop. The scenery was nice. The track as a whole, I don't remember like specific details, but like it wasn't necessarily an easy course to play. It was, there was more detail, and there was also more, like different routes you could take, and yeah, something I look for in these courses is difficulty, and this one delivered fairly well, I would say. Keep in mind, I have only played these on 200cc.
All right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, London Loop. It's okay, I guess. I honestly don't remember a ton about it, but yeah, I guess it's okay. All right, Blue Lake is next, and this one's decently memorable. I mean, it's short, so it's hard to forget much about it. But it's interesting. It has an underwater section, which I think is pretty cool. And I'd say that's probably the most memorable part about it. Uh, yeah, I say it's interesting. Ghosts and lakes are not exactly things you think of combining together, but here it's interesting. I don't really have experience with the super circuit courses, so honestly, yeah, it's pretty much new for me, and it's interesting enough. It's decent.
Okay, so Boo Lake for me was another really interesting course. It's short, like London Loop. I've only played it on 200cc. I've only played the Wave 3 tracks on 200cc. It is, despite it being extremely short, it is extremely fun because of how tight some of the turns are on 200. It's a challenge, and sometimes, and I like that. Um, the graphics on this one were pretty nice. The underwater section looked nice as well. So they
Yeah,
definitely did a good job with it.
Simple, but still fun. Fun enough.
Yep,
Yeah.
simple and enjoyable.
Yeah. Rock Mountain for 3DS. This is one I do have experience with, and it's a solid enough course, honestly. So it's not like my favorite, but it's solid enough. I have experience with it, and again, I do think it's a solid course. I think that the whole forest and the rocks, well, the boulders coming down towards the end are some pretty interesting parts, and I mean, yeah, it's relatively simple, but it's a really nice track, honestly. Like, I think it's definitely a solid course. What about
Yeah.
you?
So, Mario Kart 7 is very nostalgic for me. Um, the 3DS was a huge part of my childhood. It was the portable console of the time.
See, that's so interesting because I grew up with the I mean, I did kind of grow up with the 3DS, but I mostly grew up with the DSi and Wii, honestly. Anyway, let's not
The
get too off.
first the first thing I had was the DS, but in terms of portable, but more memorably the 3DS. But I am a little younger than you are, so
Fair enough.
anyway. Um, so this course coming from Mario Kart 7, huge nostalgia trip for me, just like all of the Wii courses. And I will go more into depth on the Wii courses here. Ha. But on the 3DS, I didn't really care for this track that much, but on the Switch, it's enjoyable. I do like it. Um, they took they didn't even change much, in really, but something about it is different, and it's more fun to play on the Switch. I don't know,
Maybe 200cc.
maybe 200cc is my favorite. So
I don't think I've played all of these in 200cc. I played all of them in 150 because I found it to be, not too slow but not too fast. I thought it would be a good way to experience these courses. 200cc is, for me at least, when you're trying to challenge yourself and have, a fun time. But for the first time, I'd wanted to experience these in 150. But yeah, for sure, 200cc is definitely fun for some of these. Maple Treeway is the last one in Rock Cup, and it's from Wii. And honestly, this is definitely the best cup of the track. I mean, I'm sorry, the best track of the cup. Okay. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely, honestly, it's a really nice environment. This autumn-esque environment. You've got the wigglers. You've got that half pipe section that they managed to incorporate. Well, they managed to incorporate it via the anti-gravity. It's such a nice course, honestly. Like, some of the turns, at least for 200cc, I remember some of them were quite tricky, but it was a fun course for sure. Honestly, like, I really liked it, honestly, and honestly, it looked good as well.
yeah, I definitely agree. Um, with the whole nostalgia trip thing on the last course, I was kind of foreshadowing my opinion on this course. Wii was a great Mario Kart game, Mario Kart Wii, great game. But this course, oh man, it did not disappoint. Um, they kept the beginning shortcut in, and that to me that was huge because Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe they kind of invaded on the whole shortcut thing that we had. Wii's shortcuts reign supreme, but yeah, the fact that they kept that mini thing in just that's my main thing with the adaptation. They kept it in, and that's what shocks me. And then the half pipe. I'm at a loss for words with this course, honestly, because they just handled it. They handled it so well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we saw that they kept in shortcuts from what was it? Mushroom Gorge, and I thought that was really cool. And that one was also a really good course. Uh, so yeah, I think they're definitely getting better with these shortcuts for sure. Good course, really good course. All right, we are now moving on to the Moon Cup. So first we got Berlin Byways, another one from Tour. So honestly, again, I don't remember a ton about this one. I remember a bit more. I remember the Thwomps, and I do remember that it's, uh, yeah. You know what? Now that I say it, I actually don't remember a ton about this one. Uh, I don't know what it is about them, honestly. Maybe it's because I don't have much experience with them, but I don't know.
The
I
tour
just
tracks are more fast paced, and I think that might be what it is.
they're just not as memorable to me. Some of them. City Sprint actually was a pretty good one in my opinion, but Berlin Byways was. I mean, I remember it being okay as well, but honestly, yeah, I don't remember much about this one either, aside from the thwomps. Uh,
So this course, I do remember a bit of it. Honestly, it it's just not that great in my opinion. The thwomps you spoke of, they like the hitbox on those is insane. You can be completely in the clear, and when those things come down, you still get spun out, and it's like, what happened? And there's that. A lot of these tour tracks have different routes, and that's cool and all until you get to this track and realize that the different routes they offer are confusing. If you're playing 200 and you haven't memorized the track layout, good game, you're probably screwed. Unless you get back to back bullet bills or something. I don't know.
yeah,
My point is that course is extremely easy to mess up on because it's so confusing. And then the non-existent hitboxes. So yeah, no, not not my cup of tea. Bad way to start the cup off.
yeah. A lot of the tour tracks really just are not that great, honestly. So, but next we have a change of pace with Peach Gardens on from DS. So, pretty classic vanilla track. Uh, there isn't a ton to it. Well, in terms of layout, it's an interesting location for sure. The I'm assuming this is supposed to be like Peach's castle, like the gardens of that. Uh, the fonts are always memorable, and then you have all the shrubbery and the flowers and well and all that, and then the shrubbery statue. Well, not, I wouldn't. I guess not statues, but the shrubbery. Uh, I don't know what you'd call it, but of all the different Mario characters, which is interesting. And then on the third lap, it reverses it. You go backwards in the track, which I think is a really interesting change because I mean this is a relatively simple course, so I think that changing it up like this was a good way to spice things up. So I mean, yeah, it's fun, of course.
Well, this was a track that debuted on the DS, made a comeback on the Wii, and and now it's on the Switch. So on the Switch, you'll notice that they being Nintendo, changed the first part of the track where you could not go around the chain chomp at the beginning. You are forced to go the correct way, which in some ways is a good thing because it was kind of confusing on mirror mode and Wii, but in other ways it's kind of disappointing because it's like, oh, I can't screw around with this like I did in Wii. But that's not too big of a deal. Yeah, the course was nice. Aside from the chain chomp thing and the lap 3 change, there's not much different about it. The backwards lap with lap 3, that threw me for a loop because I went in blind. I had no idea.
Yeah, I unfortunately that was one of the things of two things I did end up figuring out. And honestly, I think it would have been best to experience it blind. So still interesting though. Solid track, solid track. All right. So now we're on to Merry Mountain, and this one actually is not credited as being from Tour. I don't know if that means it isn't from Tour, or if they just didn't bother putting it there. So maybe it was a simultaneous release. Who knows? But yeah, we've got Merry Mountain, which uh it's actually a good enough course. It is quite simple, but I mean, it is the holiday season, so I think it was cool that they put a holiday track here. Now, will it be weird for every other month that isn't December? Yes. And yeah, this is kind of odd. But I still think it's an interesting addition to the booster course pack DLC. The flying train is pretty interesting, and I believe there's an alternate route where you can actually go on the train tracks. I did not end up taking that because I was not sure if it was an alternate route or not, and I did not want to lose my first place spot. So, yeah, interesting enough track, simple, but the Christmas aesthetic and the whole environment is quite interesting and enjoyable.
Yeah, so you covered pretty much everything I was gonna say about the track, but I will say a couple things. To answer your question about why they didn't attribute it to Tor, it's not in Tor yet. It will. Well, it wasn't at the time of them releasing the wave. It might be now. I'm not completely sure, but yeah, I actually didn't notice that they didn't attribute it to Tor, but I guess that makes sense. And you saying that about the alternate route on the train thing reminds me of the one N64. Is it Calamari Desert Track?
Oh,
I
probably.
the first time I played that track on the N64, I thought the train track was an alternate route, and I was mistaken. But might be a similar case here.
Hmm.
You might just get stuck and end up being hit by the train. But anyway,
Actually, okay, it is an alternate route, actually. I did see someone use it, so it is an alternate route. I've confirmed that now, and I don't actually think the train has collision. I saw someone try to jump onto it, and they just fell right through. So I don't believe the train actually has collision of any kind. Uh, so yeah, it's kind of odd, but interesting to say the least.
oh
Anyway,
okay.
finally, we are on to probably my favorite course from this uh, wave, which is Rainbow Road for 3DS. Honestly, such an epic course, honestly, with all of the different like things they've put in. I played it on 3DS, but here it is just great. The Rainbow Road looks superb here. Like I am genuinely shocked how good this looks. Like if you look at Wave 1, it didn't look all that great, you know? Sure, some of the tracks were solid enough, but like graphically, but Rainbow Road for 3DS is just really, really good, honestly. The whole going on the planet, the alternate routes where you can go either on top, fly through the rings, or go on the bottom. There's so much depth to this track and all the different things you can do. It's such a good course, honestly. And then that final part from the final lap where you take this high not U-turn, but this high turn, just a super high turn. It kind of similar to Mario Kart Stadium. Is that what it's called? That one base
Yes.
course? Yeah, I thought so. Kind of like that, but the other direction in the final. It's so nice, honestly. Just this track, man. It's great. Probably my favorite. Like the only one that would compete for me is Maple Treeway, but I think both Treeway and Rainbow Road are the MVPs of this course. I mean, of this wave.
I definitely agree. It's a solid course. Well, I say solid. It's a great course. As you said, the graphics are incredible. It looks insane. Um, there were a couple things that were disappointing to me. They cut out a couple of shortcuts. That last turn you mentioned on Mario Kart 7, you could actually skip that entire turn if you had a mushroom because because of the altered gravity on the track.
All right.
But that's not possible in the 8 Deluxe version. And then there is another shortcut on 7. Uh, I say shortcut. It's more just like you can take a sharper, or I guess a more inward line that you can't do in 8 Deluxe because of the different physics, I guess. But yeah, other than those two shortcut things, yeah, great course. And yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked that those are the two MVPs, considering they are each cup's quote unquote ace track. But yeah, that's what I
Sure.
have to say about it.
Yeah. So overall, I think this is probably the best wave we've gotten so far. Like this had some really good tracks. Like not to say that the other ones didn't, because there were some good uh, courses from the other waves as well. But like Wave 3, with the graphics combined with the course choices, I think these were, for the most part, a solid selection of tracks. So yeah, what do you think overall?
Overall, this wave, yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think it's the strongest wave thus far. I hope Nintendo gradually improves these uh, waves. Um, yeah, and these weren't the only changes. These weren't the only things added to the game with this
Yeah,
update.
there
Um,
was it was at least one other thing they added, which was custom items. So now, if you're playing like with a friend, or like you're doing like the custom race things, you can now, when you're choosing items, you can now choose custom items. Basically, you can choose whatever items you want. You can get rid of whatever items you want. So this has led to some very interesting things. And Luffy and I have actually tried one of these options out. So you want to explain it?
yes.
All
So
right.
what we did, we took out every item aside from blue shells. Blue shell showdown.
Yeah,
Blue shells everywhere, man.
it
It was
was that was
insane.
that was genuinely just absurd. Just having the constant, okay. So Luffy would literally camp at the item boxes, and he would literally spam the absolute crap out of throwing them, and I would get constantly hit. So even when I was starting to speed up, bam, I would get hit with another one. So it didn't even matter that I had a little invincibility for a short time because immediately he would just have constant flow of them. It was absurd.
Yeah, I actually figured out the link to the invincibility frame for your vehicle because that's another thing they changed. They nerfed some stuff. I'll talk about that in a minute. But I figured out how long the invincibility frames lasted, and I would send one to make sure that I wouldn't be wasting too many blue shells. Gotta win somehow. The game mode, the only blue shell game mode, it's not all luck. There's definitely strategy involved.
There's stuff, yeah. It's just ridiculous that this even exists now.
Yeah,
What's next?
but
Bullet bills only? I can't even
people have
imagine.
done it.
Yeah, I think I've seen it.
Uh,
Okay. So yeah, interesting update, interesting wave. So yeah, I mean that's gonna do it for this podcast. But before we go, we have an announcement to make.
well, actually, there was one thing I did want to bring up. The last change that they did. I'm not sure you even know about this. I wanted to
Alright.
wait to tell you until this
Okay.
this podcast. So, as some of y'all know, as well, some of y'all Mario Kart 8 Deluxe players know, the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe metagame is, in short, a bunch of heavyweight characters on low acceleration builds.
Yeah.
Nintendo has decided to nerf this. The lower the acceleration, or not the lower the acceleration, the higher the acceleration, the less invincibility frames you are going to have from now on. So, for example, a combination with no acceleration whatsoever is going to have more invincibility frames than a combination with low, or I keep mixing them up. A combination with low acceleration is going to have more invincibility frames than a combination with high acceleration to kind of balance that out.
That's confirmed?
Yes, this is confirmed. This was changed. This is real. This is a quote unquote nerf to
That is interesting.
high acceleration builds.
Wait,
But yeah, I'm interested in seeing how this affects the meta. I haven't played too much online after the release of this update, so I really don't know what the meta is looking like after this. So yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out.
all right. Well, we do have one announcement to make before we go. So, guys, we are hosting a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tournament in about a couple weeks' time or so from now. And the prize is a gift card of up to $25 value, and it's not anything specific. Whatever, if you win, you get to pick whatever you choose. It doesn't even have to be gaming related. But yeah, so I believe it will be happening December 31st. We don't have an exact time yet, but what we do know is that we have a max cap of 12 people. So if you want to join, make sure to click the link down in the description. You should be a Discord invite and join our server. You need to go to server announcements and react to that post of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tournament announcement with a like if you want to join. There is a max cap of 12, so there's not that many spaces. If you want to join, you need to make sure to join as soon as you can, as soon as you're able to. Once again, prize is $25 gift card of your choice, well, up to $25. And yeah, if you want to join, go down in the description, join, and react to the like. So yeah, that's going to do it for today's podcast. So if you enjoyed, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. Anyways, that's going to do it. So see ya, guys.
See ya.